for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We're going to skip to Kelly and do our audit first before we have public comment, if nobody minds, and then we'll proceed on.
All right, once again, we meet again. Every year you're required by the state of Michigan to have an audit done. Because you're a government agency in a village, you have to have it every year based on revenue, based on population. Townships are required, some townships every year, some every other year, but you are required every year to have one. So if you look at the bound document that you have in front of you, that is the actual audit. The first few pages here, pages 1, 2, and 3 now, it's expanded enough now, tells what our auditor's opinion was on the work that was done. There are 3 possible opinions that we can form. We can form a clean opinion, it's called an unqualified opinion, where everything was fine with the audit. We can form a qualified opinion where everything was okay except for this area or that area, or an adverse opinion where it means we couldn't even finish the audit. You received an unqualified opinion. Everything was very good. There are a few things that we'll talk about as we go through here that maybe I would like to see different a little bit, maybe. And it was kind of a one-time thing, and we'll talk about that with the streets and things of that project. But the state looks at this very closely on what kind of opinion that we form as an independent auditor, and you received a clean or unqualified opinion. So good news there. The next few pages, pages 4 through 8. This, I can't say anymore that it's new because it's been a lot of years now, but this is called Management's Discussion and Analysis, and the state developed this section of the financial statement. It didn't ever used to exist, but they've created it to try to allow someone that maybe doesn't know how to read a financial statement be able to grab this audit and read these few pages here and get an idea of what you as a village do, what you're required to do, what your programs are, and how you're doing, whether you're doing better than you did the year before or worse than the year before. One good characteristic of this management discussion analysis is a lot of this is boilerplate. It's called management discussion and analysis, but it's a set grid that the state develops that we fill in the numbers for it off from the financial statements. And that's why I have to come here. One reason I have to be an independent auditor, which means I can't do anything in this financial statement. I'm auditing this financial statement. So, and that's why I'm here going through this, so you all understand the financial statements and take responsibility for them. But the one area that I do really like about this management discussion analysis is on pages 6 and 7. This is where it is in total, but it does show you prior year versus this year. So you can see, if you look down at the bottom of page 6, your governmental activities, that includes your general fund, your street, major street, and your local street, okay? Those 3 funds together. In 2024, you brought in $339,550 total revenue. 2025, it was $362, so pretty similar, okay? Business type activities, that's your sewer. And the reason why that's considered a business type activity and kept separate is because you charge a fee for usage. So it's handled more like a business, okay? There you brought in $105,000 in 2024, you brought in $131 in 2025. Part of that is interest. Interest rates were up and you earn more interest on your money in the sewers. Excuse me. So as a whole, if you look over at the totals, not a whole lot of difference in the revenue side of things. If you turn the page 7, these are expenditures, and again, it's in total, larger totals, but you can see that your totals for 2024 in the governmental, your general fund, major local street was 275. In 2025 was 477,000. Biggest reason, your street project, okay? That was the biggest reason, and we'll see more detail on that. Business type activities is your sewer, 128 versus 137, so pretty similar there, okay? All right, if you go then to page 9, this shows your financial statements, and these are called government-wide financial statements. Again, these were new, not really new anymore, but when management discussion and analysis was created, these show your general fund, your local street, and your major street all together, smushed together in one operation as a village, under governmental activities. These can be very complicated between, this takes more of a long-term look at your village versus the fund statements that we're gonna look at in a second, that are cash in, cash out. You look at 1 year and it's what money did I get in, what money did I spend out, period. You spend $500,000 on a fire truck, it's an expense in that year, you're done. Here, it's a long-term view, more like a business view of it. You depreciate it out. You're getting, that fire truck you're getting use of over 15 years. You depreciate it out over 15 years, so you show it as an asset. So the biggest thing here, it shows all of your funds together, so as a total, for general fund, major, and local street, you had in cash and cash equivalents, yours is all cash, 694,000. Okay, that includes checking account, savings account, CDs, okay? 694,000. You had some receivables there for money. Some of that was from your local streets, and state shared revenue is down here due from other governmental units. Part of that is state shared revenue. Internal balances, that 1,500 is due between general fund and sewer fund. And then taxes receivable, you had a little bit of taxes yet to receive from the county. But here in the middle, you can see that you had $35,000 in land, $186,000 in building improvements, furniture and equipment, $207, in your vehicles, which is primarily your fire, $1 million. Net of depreciation, $347,000. So that's the only area you're gonna see that information of your fixed assets depreciated over time. If you look at a school district, it's a lot more in depth, these changes, because you have debt, you have a lot of other things. You guys don't have any debt right now, but if you did, that would show here. On the fund statements that we've always had before, you just show your payments as you pay it. Money in, money out, okay? All right, so if you look then to page 10, this is what we were looking at were the assets, liabilities, and equity. Now what we look at are the expenses and the revenue. At first I thought, what are they thinking? You never put expenses in front of revenue in accounting class. You never, it's revenue minus expenses is your profit. Then it makes sense to me. If you look here, your general government, which is everything except for your fire and your public works, it costs you to run your village $92,766, okay? It makes sense that that's pretty important. How are we gonna come up with that money? How are we going to fund those services that we offer now? You have charges for services. That is just your administration fee on your taxes that you collect. You charge that little 1% administration fee. That's a charge for a service. So you have $906 is all that you're actually charging for village operations. So that means over on the far right, you've got $91,860 you've got to figure out how to come up with, okay? Let's jump down, then let's go to public safety, cost you $87,000. You had fire billings and receipts. Now you're gonna look at that and say, we get more than that from the township than that $20,000. Prior, we had some billings for fire that were old and we're writing those off. So that's where that $10,000, we're writing that, trying to get that fire billings down to where it should be, and it's about there now. Receivables, because you had old fire bills that weren't paid. So now, I love the sheets and stuff that you have now for that. That's that AccuMed or whatever it is. That was wonderful. That's great, because I can see how much was billed, how much was collected, how much was left, and that's what I wanted to see. So that helped a lot. So you'll see 66,000 of fire, we've gotta come up with somehow. Public Works, 296,000 it cost you, 17,815. You had grants of 84,966, you still have to come up with 194,000. If you look down in the first column at the bottom, this is how you come up with the money to fund those services. Property taxes, so that shows how dependent you are. 92,000 comes in for property taxes. Local community stabilization funds, that went up this year. Was normally around $5,000–6,000. You got 18 this year for that. That comes from the state. State shared revenue, 58,000. Your interest income was higher this year because of the markets, 25,000, and then some miscellaneous income. That includes the sale of a mower, was $9,500 in that. So, and then there was some insurance on fire maintenance deal, repairs that the insurance paid you for. That's what makes up that 42,000. Okay, so I think this statement is very important to show you just how dependent you are on those sources of revenue, because for the village services that you provide, you can't go and, I'm gonna charge you this, I'm gonna charge you that, you know, you can't. You have to get these general monies from property taxes, from state shared revenue and things like that, okay? Any questions so far? Okay, now we could look at the next page, page 11. This shows you, and I'll just kind of glaze over these because these we've talked about, but they were all together in that other, in one column in the other statement. But here it'll show you general fund, major streets, and local streets. And you'll see that major streets, or general fund had 621,000 in assets, and your fund balance. Now, what is fund balance? Fund balance is like a snowball that you have, and each fund, and you say, what's a fund? A fund, general fund is everything except for something that has to be kept in a separate set of books, a separate fund. And like your major streets has to, your local streets has to, because they have separate revenue sources that you have to keep track of from the state. But the fund balance is very important for you to know, and we'll keep watch of that. It's like a snowball. You have this money, $605,000 in fund balance in your general fund. That's healthy. That's a healthy fund balance. Does it mean go and spend? No. It's like a savings account, okay? But that $605,000, what happens is now you never post a fund balance. We've had that talk. That's not a revenue, it's not an expense, it's that snowball. And then next year, if you have a profit in your general fund, revenue was more than expenditures, you're adding to that snowball. If you have a loss, you have a big project that you pay for or something, and that's why I'm talking about this, is because of local streets. You have a big project, that snowball's gonna shrink because you've spent some of that savings, that set aside, that fund balance, okay? So right now and moving forward, your general fund is sitting pretty good at 605. Major streets has 173,000, and local streets is at 4,000, okay? Well, we've got to talk about that. Go to the next. The next page is just a reconciliation page between those two. Long-term look at the village, and the short-term look. And again, it's just your fixed assets and depreciation. What I want to talk to you about here on page 13, we've looked at this, but this shows your expenses in more detail here. You'll see how much each line item, your village council, your clerk, your treasurer, your public works, street lighting, all of those cost you. And what you develop budgets for. And your budgets, you did a very good job on those. There were a few overpay, and we'll talk about those, but very good job. It's been a long time that you really did well at itemizing those out. Can't talk, I have no sleep. What I wanted to talk to you about, major streets and local streets. On your QuickBooks, it's all in one account. It has one bank account, okay? What you need to be aware of is those are actually two separate things. And your revenue, I went back and forth, what's the best way to do this? Your revenue and your expenditures, and your asset stuff, except for that cash, is all one account. Your revenue and expenditures are kept separate. When you get money in for major, it says revenue major, expenses are major local, whether it's routine maintenance, you know, whatever. winter. What happened is, what money I separated out then, you know, that cash account, I know what your last year's beginning balance was in your cash, I add your revenue for local, I subtract out your local expense, I get your ending. I know that. You just saw, we have street fund money of this much, and you did the local street projects more than what was in that allocated fund. Does that mean it was wrong, bad, or different? No, you can do that, you can transfer between funds. But because you only have one account, you don't think it that way. It's not a problem, we can show that as coming from the major fund because it's all one account. Major fund paid $76,000 of that project, okay? You can't, or don't want to, have that fund balance, that snowball, go negative. And that's what would have happened if you didn't use that major street money. So in my mind, I was thinking, should you do a separate fund for major and a separate fund in QuickBooks for local street? I don't think that's necessary, how you do things. What I would do is keep some kind of worksheet, an Excel spreadsheet or something, and I'll give you the beginning balances and just kind of keep track of those. I'll help you with that, so you know what's there. And then if you need to transfer from local back to major, or major, you can do that, okay? But then you'll have it all set where you guys know, well, we have this much in local, we have this much in major, okay? Does that make sense? Okay. So I just wanted to talk to you about that. I think that's the easiest way, rather than to have a whole nother set and pay that money for that extra company and do that, you know, do it all separate and have a separate account. It's not necessary, okay? All right, so this shows 275,000 came in for general fund, 277 was spent out. So you have about a break even for general fund for the year, okay? Major streets brought in 67,000, spent out 19, but then shifted money over to, and helped the local street by 76. So you're still showing a fund balance in that of 173, which is healthy. Local streets brought in 19, but you spent 143, okay? So we borrowed from the major street and ended up with, you know, a low fund balance. So just be careful of that for moving forward, but you can move money however you want to between those funds, okay? All right, any questions on that? I just wanted to kind of outline that, because that, you would look at that and say, transfer, what does that mean? So, all right, the next page, page 15, is your sewer fund. That we've already covered in those government-wide, so I won't spend much time on that. Operating revenue, you brought, on page 16, you brought in 125,000, spent 137. Now I say spent, of that 137, 76,000 is depreciation on your sewer equipment, okay? So that wasn't money you necessarily spent, 76,000 in that year. You spent it before, and we're spreading it out over time, okay? So, page 17, again, is a cash flow statement. That, a lot of people don't understand that statement. It's just required by the state. Honestly, what it is taking your beginning cash and reconciling it to ending cash. Taking out these timing differences of receivables and payables and depreciation and getting back to a cash in, cash out, okay? It's something required by the state. Next few pages, pages 18 through, several pages, through 24, I believe. Yeah, page 24. Those are just notes to the financial statements. We've already discussed everything pretty much that are in those. It's just more detail on those. Additions to your fixed assets, things like that. Page 25, 26, and 27, these are your budget statements. You are required as a village, before your fiscal year even begins. Your fiscal year begins March 1st, so before your fiscal year ever begins, so February usually, you do a budget. You come up with, it's called an original budget. And what do you base it on? You start with last year, and then you know, no different than your household. You start, you know, I spent this much last year in utilities, what am I gonna spend this year? You bump it up a little for price increases, or if you have a project, you filter that in. But you make sure, again, the reason for this budgeting is to make sure that you're mindful of money that comes in, money that goes out. Do we have enough in our snowball if we're gonna eat into that, and do we want to do that, okay? So that's part of your process when you're budgeting. Or how are we gonna go get more revenue to make sure that that project can happen, okay? Are we gonna go after grants? Are we gonna do things like that? Okay? It lets you know what you can budget for projects that you want to do, and if the money's there, or you have to find a revenue stream, okay? So, used to be the state didn't show original budget, they just showed final, but it wasn't very informative to them, because now they'll look at the original and they'll say, well, why did you think that you were gonna spend $5,000 on this, and then you amended it to, on maintenance, and you ended up changing it to $25,000 and spent, well, we had a fire truck breakdown, or something like that, there's a reason. But they look at that and they say, were you just being lazy on your original budget, or were you, really, they want you to be mindful, they want you to be responsible, that's your job as the board. And mainly what they look at over on the far column, they really, I have had the state send some notices on revenue, but they really concentrate on expenditures. So in the far corner, on the far side, they look to see if you have any overages, okay? You did have some in the fire department, 21,000, you spent more than you had budgeted for. Now again, some of those, most of those are probably from my audit adjustments, okay? Payroll taxes, I set up payroll liabilities. What I would do is, and if you look at these actuals to set up your new one, or look at now, look at the ones that I've changed, and you can see my journal entries. You can pull those right off from QuickBooks that I send back to you, and bump those some if you want to. Is this anything you should be concerned with? No, okay? I wouldn't be concerned at all. Honestly, I had a school that Camden Frontier School I used to audit. They would change their budget, so it was 0 in those columns. What meaning is that? That doesn't tell you what their thought process is or why. They expect to see some. Now they'll say, is that line item 10% of the total expenditures? So for general fund, I would have to look at any expense that's 27,000 or more, okay? So if we look at fire department, it's 53,000, that's more than 27,000, so yes, I need to look and see if that one was within budget. It wasn't. Was it more than 10% over the amount? Was the overage more than 10% of it? Yes. So that one, I have to note it. Are you going to get anything for that? No, because we already say the cause and the concern in the back, okay? But it is something that I have to look at. If I saw a problem on every line item, then there'd be a weakness, and we'd have to do a training maybe on how to budget, okay? I don't think that's the issue, okay? Any questions there? Okay, that just shows you how important budgeting is, okay? All right, now we've got the major street and local street, and again, the only thing that really wasn't budgeted was that transfer. So that's something to be mindful of in your future budgets, okay? And if you have questions on those at the end, just ask me when you get to your final, okay? And I can look at them too. All right, the next few pages are just my reports. These are a report on internal controls. We do not test internal controls to make sure that you're too small to have one person do every single thing, but honestly, as a village, you do a better job than any other township or village I've dealt with. How you guys have somebody watching and more than one person. They don't want one person receiving the money, depositing the money, writing the checks, reconciling the checkbook, everything else, okay? That's where fraud occurs. I've found it, I've seen it, okay? You want 2 eyes on everything, okay? And you guys do a very good job of that, okay? I don't form an opinion on it, but because I'm not qualified to do that, but to be independent, I have to review what internal controls you do and your procedures. That's why I ask you for procedures every year. And we've come a long way of making sure that, you guys are looking at bank recs, you're doing things, and you're doing a very good job of that, okay? No issues there. Now, we do have to note that segregation of duties is an issue. The state now even says, is segregation of duties or preparation of basic financial statements, do you have any other notes other than those? Because when they first started with us having to note internal control issues. They wanted you to prepare this, and I come in and I look at this and audit this. You can't do that, okay? Maybe the city of Lansing that has a CPA on staff, you know, but you can't. We had one client in the, I don't even wanna say how many years I've been doing this, but that's done it, and it was a school district that had outsourced to a CPA, okay? So, you're not going to, so I have to come here once a year and bore you to death and go through this, okay? That's just how you get past those, okay? And then, a note on that budget issue, okay? Just that the condition, the cause, the effect, and that you're going to, monitor that budget and continue to look at it, okay? Any questions? Very good job. You guys are lucky to have Ellie, I'll tell you that. She does an excellent job. Very, 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 very good job. Everything in it, I need something, she's on it. So, the other thing is just the letter. This didn't used to go to the state, now it does. But this just is, from me to you guys. If I had an issue with Ellie and she says, well, I'm not giving you that, or you're wrong, I'm not gonna post that, okay, clients like that, it would be noted here, okay, that we had issues, we had problems. If there's any major journal entries that had to be made by major, I come up with a materiality based on your numbers. If it's above that, the only one you had that was material in nature that I have to do is depreciation. That's a given. I do that every year because I'm the one that has the schedule, okay? So no problems. Okay? Any questions? And obviously, if you guys have questions along the way, all you have to do is call me because I'll come explain, help, whatever.
So we only have 3 streets left in town that's not been paved.
It looks wonderful in town, I'll tell you.
We can
I grew up here.
we can use major funds to do those local streets.
Yep, you transferred over.
But just remember though, Rick, this is last year's audit,
Yeah.
so
You
this is
spent
not
money
including,
since.
yeah,
Yeah.
the 3 that we did this year.
Yeah,
That's not.
yeah, yeah,
Shoot.
that's
I
correct.
know.
Be right
That balance looks
foot.
really
How about
nice in
That's
there.
right,
Yeah.
that's correct.
Tough luck, Al.
You're gonna have to wait a year.
Oh, no, wait, now that road gets special consideration.
That's right, yeah, all right.
My daughter's gonna live on that road.
So loose piece.
Remember, that's kind of the other road
That's
there
right.
too.
I just,
Well,
yeah,
you got a
that's
great idea, loose piece
I just-
Put some pea stone on it, you guys will be good.
What? Okay, I'm sorry.
She just needs help in her driveway,
Off
that's
track.
horrible.
Yeah, that culvert's coming up.
Yeah.
Have them drag it out of there, ain't doing any good.
Okay, anybody else got a question?
Slow you down to get in. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you. I put
Mine
your
was
box
like that.
on desk.
Thank you, I appreciate you.
Thank you, thank you very much, guys.
Good luck, Kelly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Kids need something, have them come
I
back.
will, thank you. How about a babysitter?
No.
All right. To the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
The consent agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
Need a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Uh,
Okay. We skipped public comment. Anybody got any public comment this early in the season, meeting, excuse me? Okay. Old business, part-time employee.
Okay, so, we received 2 applications for our part-time employment position that posted. Personnel's met a couple of times. One applicant is on the fire department, and we've talked about that being conflict of interest. So we looked at the other applicant, believe it to be a good fit, no past experience, but willing to learn. So personnel has talked about putting her on a 3-month probation period, $16 an hour, and then after the 3 months, reviewing where she's at with things, kind of reviewing with Bob, seeing how he feels about the situation. And as of right now, he has no hesitations about this person. Her children go north out of school, so she's in the village a few times a day. What's my other train of thought with this? So what we're trying to do though is because we have leaf pickup, we have not scheduled an interview with her, but we are looking to get approval to hire, just based on the fact if she can pass her physical, drug test, and try to get her started as soon as possible to get started on leaf pickup and things that Bob needs help with. So if you want me to pass her on the application for everybody else to look at.
Somebody's got this.
As soon as I see him. I think that one.
I'm waiting for you to come help with this.
I'm gonna be,
You've got it. And you
Okay.
wanna-
I'm gonna be.
And we need a motion to allow Ellie and
The personnel committee,
the
Interview her.
just based off the interview, drug test, physical, get her started, if she can, as soon as possible.
I'll make a motion to do that.
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I know she is.
Okay.
You wanna look at it?
Christmas parade tree lighting.
I'm so excited about this. So, as of right now, we have 9 confirmed vendors for our holiday craft market. We are working with the library, so the library has their open house. We are going to have, so Santa Claus is there. We're still working on some time conflict, but Santa and Mrs. Claus will be in the parade, and then we are trying to have them in the fire barn for cookies and cocoa afterwards. Trying to get a horse-drawn carriage to pull them through the lighted parade. We have a coffee trailer lined up, in addition to like our traditional tree lighting ceremony. So it should be a really good event. We're just trying to kind of get the word out there, so there's some flyers on the back table. You gotta put some churches or businesses. That's it. Melissa, do you have anything to add to that?
I don't think so. You've done a great job. Thank you.
Do we still need to add the fire department and coffee after the tree lighting?
Cookies
I
and
think-
cocoa usually, right?
Yeah, I think, and it's usually after, isn't it, Dallas? I think right after the tree lighting, is that what it is? Okay.
He says, sure.
Sure.
Are we getting hold of college kids again?
Yes.
I enjoy them.
I threw an idea out to them that if they were willing, and he's gotta get back with his group, and I haven't talked to him since. And while the lighted parade's going on, maybe they could stand up on 4 corners and sing some carols. That might not happen, but I did ask them, but.
And I'm pretty sure we're getting the Christmas tree from Al, aren't we?
I don't know. Well, I looked at it, somebody else has gotta approve it before we chainsaw it out.
So
Chopping the tree down in Al's yard.
the way they do it from the tree for the Capitol, they took it right out of people's yard. So we just find somebody's yard that we could just take a tree out of and we just put it
Good to
up.
go.
Well, we'll take
It's
that.
a good looking tree, but I would like somebody else's approval on it.
I think if you guys think it looks good, then go for it.
Take that night.
No. And then we gotta make sure we got enough lights to brighten it up.
Someone cut it down and haul it up here.
That's not a problem.
Okay. You can drag it on your tractors?
We have to, but no, we got trailers we can put it
Are you gonna decorate your tractor for the parade?
on.
Yes.
I'm working on it, but not guaranteed yet.
I'll say yes. Yes.
Do we have anybody lined up or to be in the lighted
You
parade?
keep looking at me and I am not in charge of this one.
Melissa's
do.
not.
So we need more though, so Wally hasn't like signed an official, contract here.
I'm just gonna show up casually.
But we did have, Independence Heating and Cooling, and the fire department has agreed to be in there, and Dallas is gonna talk to other fire departments. But I've had a couple other people reach out questioning, so I think it's gonna come together.
And I think if the community realizes that Like, you don't have to be a business, you don't have, like,
Yeah.
get your cool tractor out, do you have a cool car that you really wanna get out in the possible snow?
Golf
Do
carts.
you have golf carts that you wanna drive?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm just gonna
do
drive
the
a golf
kids
cart.
wanna walk?
I'll look up posts
with
like
no
that
help.
tomorrow.
Did you happen to talk to Mr. Spindleman by chance? I'll see if I can get a hold of Josh tomorrow.
Mr. who?
Okay.
The band director at the school and see if some of the kids want to walk and play. So I'll talk to him.
Thank you. And I'll make a post out. More people.
Everybody.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun to see some kids riding bicycles.
Yeah, do that.
Grab the Santa and the sleigh.
Okay, go. Are we done with the tree lighting?
I think so.
The last old business not on the agenda. We were wanting to fix the roof on the mill over here. Lance Fansler gave me a bid for $900. Mark Stoll was, what, $550 or something? $450, whatever it was. I'm sorry, I don't have it, and I haven't been home to
I think
go
I
through all my notes.
It should be in the.
But,
900 and 450. I want to say
we really need to patch that.
Hit it to 475.
475? So. If we're gonna do it, I gotta have a motion.
Can we look into, if we make this motion, make it happen, fixing the roof, but moving forward, trying to find some other, yeah, I mean, the foundation is getting pretty bad.
If you can find someone to work on the grant, that'd be fine with me.
Right,
Um,
but further, as far as further going ahead, if we have to do any more repairs to it, we may wanna look at other options.
I just wanna keep the roof from getting rotted.
Right. But if it's, we fix this and then next year another piece sails off again, we continue to put money into it. We gotta have an outlet for some of that, so what do we do? That's my only qualm with it, cause it's, the foundation's getting bad, you can see it. Right off the back of the porch there, it's got a pretty big hole in it. So we're getting critters probably in underneath of it, cats. Cats.
We wouldn't have as many cats if that one lady quit coming into town. Anyway, that's another story, but,
No, she takes them and fixes them.
all right, so we got a motion, did someone second it?
Second.
Wanna read the motion, please?
Okay, so Woodruff makes a motion to have Stoll patch the roof for $475 with the understanding that we're going to look into grants before we put any further
Yes.
Okay.
money into the project.
Somebody second it? Steve second it? All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. All right, we got the audit, garbage company and new business.
Okay, so, our dumpster in the parking lot, the bottom is falling out of it, so I said something to Bob the other day, like, hey, like, should we call and, you know, get a new dumpster delivered? And instead, we talked about just switching companies, because we have not been happy with LRS. They don't pick up when they're supposed to, and customer service. Anyways, Bob reached out to the Louder, which I know that you have recommended them through the village. So for the same size dumpster, it'd be $68 a month. They do pick up bi-weekly, which right now LRS charges us, I think $74 or $75 a month, and they only pick up once a month. Be cheaper, and we do need extra pickup time, especially in like the summer with like the summer rec league. And then they just charge a flat rate of $125 for drop-off. So,
And there's no fees.
yeah.
In my 10-year time of doing that business, he's got his stuff together on it. He's a reputable garbage company, as there before I even get up out of bed on Wednesday mornings for pickup, so. I would say that it's a good move going in the direction we want to, and it'd be cheaper.
Yeah,
So what was the name of this one?
Louder Management, they're out of Coldwater.
Quincy, I think, Quincy,
Okay.
Coldwater area, two young brothers, I believe, they're doing it, but the one brother runs at Keegan, I think they're Keegan. Even garbage service for your home is only $28 a month, they bill it per month, there's no pickup fees, nothing, they're super cheap.
Holy crap.
And like I said, he's there before I get out of bed, cause they posted pictures in front of my house of the garbage can, and it's dark. So,
How many dumpsters are we talking about?
just the one for our garbage can.
Just a two,
Just one, just a
yard,
single, 8 yard?
2 yard,
yard.
Two.
which is what we have now.
I think it's a good move.
So 68 a month,
Yep.
twice a month?
Nope, so it's $68 for the month, and they pick up
come
twice a month. Where LRS is $74, $75 a month, and they only pick up once a month, if
Yeah.
that.
That.
Sometimes you have to call 4 or 5 times to remind them to come pick up.
So we need a motion?
I'll make
You're gonna make a
I'll
motion?
make a motion
And I'll
to change.
support you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
So we have.
Going back to old business, the library, as I reported last month, they wanted us to pay for half of the sidewalk between the school and the library going across the private person's property. We agreed to pay for half of that of $6,000. Then they called me up and said, we gotta cancel that job because they are a public whatever, and they can't spend public money on private property. So I went to different people that I could think of, and I found an individual who said we'll match anything up to $1,500. So I went back and told the Lions Club and Lance Pantler, Affordable Heating, and Racers X, amongst other people, and I said, I just gotta match $1,500. And tonight, just before the meeting, I got my $1,500 promised, so. We're gonna, Mark Stoll's gonna do the sidewalk, he thought he could get it done before winter hits real hard, so. We're in hopes of getting that project. If not, he'll do it next spring, he said he'd do it next spring for the same price, so. But we have the money collected, the only thing that we have to, that I have to ask all these people to do is, and that's why I bring it up tonight, they have to write a check to North Adams Village for the sidewalk project, for the library sidewalk project. They can't write the check and give it to the library, because then it's a donation to the library and they can't do it.
Spend it.
So the money's gonna come to our office for the $1,500, but right now, kids that are walking down there are walking along the edge of the road.
We've already cleared everything with Kelly too, so she's already given us the green light, yes, you take donations and then pay for the sidewalk project.
That, we gotta vote on, I just wanted to be,
The donors, are they getting their names donated to get the match? Are you like doing anything with them on the sidewalks or anything?
tell me that again,
Like who donated, are they getting like their
I
names?
just told you.
Yeah, but we can, we'll put it on
Field
Facebook.
Point
when it's-
Property,
okay,
Lions
yes,
Club.
Thank you.
yeah.
I think you misunderstood what I asked, but I'll be honest, so we're okay.
Well, yeah, we'll recognize them on Facebook and.
That's where, yeah.
She understood what I asked, we're good.
Okay. Streets, Mr. Robert.
Got the Steiner back going, got the broom fixed. As of now, everything's ready for winter. We got our salt shipment finally. Dump trucks fixed. These are coming, piling up at the lagoons already. As soon as we get some else, we'll be able to haul them. That's about it for me, really.
That's it?
Yeah, there isn't too much been going on, just your basic keep up and fix stuff. That's it.
Brad, you've been sitting there kinda quiet. We'll throw you in right now. Are you ready?
You guys up? Evening, everyone. We are on the cusp of winter and that all-important holiday opening day, right? So, a few updates from the county. If you have been out on Ridge Road in the last couple of days, you will note that we have structure going up out there. And so we do have steel up in the air. Foundations are complete on all 3 of the new tower sites. Of course, the location here in Adams Township, and then Woodbridge Township, and Litchfield Township. Litchfield Township actually resulted in our first change order for the project because the soil over there, evidently the water is about 3 feet below the surface. And so that they had to double the amount of concrete and resulted in a big change order in the project. They'd make the footers for that about double the diameter, so they were about 7 feet in diameter for those concrete piers. That concrete on all locations had to cure for 30 days, so they started here, went to Woodbridge, then on to Litchfield, and then they'll build the same way. So we are moving forward, and like I say, if you're over that way, you should be able to see the steel up in the air. I know Monday they had the first section up, and that's up on my Brett Nesbitt, my political page, social media. We did put a picture of that. I don't know how far they've gotten this week. Dallas, you've been out that way?
Yeah.
Okay. How many sections have they got up?
It looked like 3.
Okay. Okay.
sections.
Go. It is going up. Something that will directly affect the village that the Board of Commissioners did at our last meeting. We did make some updates to the fee schedule that we charge all the local units in the county. We haven't done that for a few years, and to reflect the ever-increasing costs that we see for things like technology and paper. So what we do is we do the preparation of the information that goes in tax bills, and we basically are guaranteeing that information is accurate. And of course, if it's not, then we eat the cost of having to reprint those tax bills. And then we also contract with a number of units around the county to print the tax bills for them. The Village of North Adams is one of the customers for that service. You don't pay a tremendous amount of money, but there will be a small increase totaling $70.25. The cost of that will be going up. And I do have a copy of the table here. Oh yeah, I have your copy highlighted for the village line, and there's one other one for your council members. You can make more copies if you would like. So Nick does his office does a really great job. I think that we have a couple of cities that print their own tax bills and prepare their own information, but we do that for the majority of the units throughout the county. One of the things that we did at our last meeting, I had one of our Sheriff's Department canine officers come to me and said the county does not have a policy in regard to what happens with our canines once they are retired. And Hillsdale County, since Sheriff Hodshire has been our sheriff, we now have 3 canines in service to the county, and potentially I know we may have a 4th one. The most recent addition was an explosives dog. We have one that basically is in the jail, And then we have another dog that is both a bite dog and also is a detection dog. The dogs that work outside the jail, I've been told they don't get trained on marijuana because marijuana is legal in Michigan now, and they don't want a false hit, whereas the dog that is in the jail, since it is still against the law to have marijuana in the jail, that dog is trained on it. But anyways, so what we did is with the help of a friend of mine who is a trainer with the Houston, Texas Police Department and their canine units there, we put together and sent out for legal review and created a policy for the county that upon retirement of a canine officer, it will be offered to their handler. There is a significant bond built between that dog and that officer in the time that they serve together, and it seemed fit that we go ahead and set that up that would guarantee that that dog, upon their retirement from service to the county, that they would be first offered to that handler, and then if the handler, for whatever reason, did not want to keep that dog, then it would be offered to a canine service dog organization to place that. We also, as part of that resolution, we did waive the dog license fee for that canine once they are retired for the rest of their life, as long as they remain in Hillsdale County. They will still have to get a dog license like all of us do, but that annual fee would be waived for that officer in recognition for the time that they did services in the county. That was passed unanimously, and I believe that the Hillsdale College newspaper is going to be doing a story about that. I talked with a young lady from the Collegian, so they should probably have something in the next couple of days. We did join, for the county health insurance, the Mid-Michigan Insurance Pool. A number of entities, like 250 of them, school districts, public health agencies have joined in that. And basically what we do is it gives us more employees that they do our experience rating on. So we have a fair number of employees, but not huge numbers. So we have about 180 employees with the County of Hillsdale. We've actually talked in the past about perhaps partnering with the Road Commission, adding therefore, because the bigger number we have, the better that experience rating is. So the pool basically has like 25,000 members within it, and so the experience rating is much better, which means we get a lower insurance premium. So to that, for 2026, our insurance premiums for our employees will stay the same, or perhaps will even go down a little bit, not a tremendous amount. And they have guaranteed what our rate increase will be over the next 3 years, no more than. So it doesn't have to be that, but we do have some limits in regards to, and it is significantly better than the guarantee that we were getting from Blue Cross Blue Shield. We also did vote that once again, and we have ever since back during the Snyder years, that the cost sharing with employer employees for all public employees was passed. We did once again adopt the 80-20 formula. So consequently, our employees will pay 20% of the cost, and the county will pay 80% of the cost. We'll have about 5 different plans that we'll offer, and we will be staying with Blue Cross Blue Shield. However, as part of the pool, that will also allow us to offer a priority health option. Prior to a year ago, we did use priority health. A lot of our employees were not happy with the change to Blue Cross a year ago, and so if they did want to go back to that, they will have the option of moving back to priority health for their insurance. Longtime county building official Marty Taylor did retire last month, and we did conduct a search for that, and we did hire the chief deputy in that department, Ray Taylor, and Ray is now our chief building official for Hillsdale County. That office does a really, really great job. I interact in my day job with a number of the contractors throughout the county and all of the trades, and they all seem pretty happy with the job that Hillsdale County does in relation to some of the neighboring counties. So they evidently are pretty efficient. I know whenever I've had to go in and pull a permit from them, they have been very, very good in getting that done. Hillsdale County does have 4 labor unions, 2 of them are at the Sheriff's Office, 2 of them are at 911, And contracts with all of those entities will expire at the end of this year. Myself and Mark Wiley, who also makes up our management personnel committee, we are charged with negotiating those contracts. And so that is ongoing. We do have a session set up for the 14th when we our next one. And with a couple of our unions that we're going to have a mediation session in regards to trying to come to an agreement on wages. But we are making progress. We'd like to have those buttoned up. That is a key component, what those wage increases will be for our 2026 budget. And without them, it makes it pretty hard to figure out what our budget amounts will be for next year. So hopefully when I'm back in December, I will be able to report that we've been able to get those settled. We did have a resolution, not at our most immediate, but at our first meeting in October, in regards to the subject of ranked choice voting. I don't know if you've heard anything at all about that. The Michigan Association of County Clerks has gone on record as being opposed to that, and our county clerk, Dave Dane, did ask the Board of Commissioners to take a position on that. We actually did say that at this point, because no petitions have been filed, and we really did not necessarily feel that we should be taking a position one way or another on the issue, that we actually voted for, opposed, and one in favor of not passing that resolution in opposition. But I did want to share with you that there are petition gatherers out. The hope is it would be on the ballot in 2026. What ranked choice voting is, it's something that they do in several other states. New York State is probably the shining example of that. And if you know what happened there yesterday, they elected the first actual socialist in a major city in America as their mayor. And basically that was the result of ranked choice voting. So what happens with ranked choice voting, and I'm not going to tell you to vote one way or another, I will tell you if it is on the ballot, I will vote against it. But basically, rather than picking one candidate, you say maybe sometimes I don't like really either of them, but this was the lesser of two evils. Now you rank them. So if there's 5 people on the ballot, you rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if you don't want to play that game and you only pick one, then it really helps out the other 4 that there's no ranking on, because other people will. And so it really is a bad idea. But like I say, I would strongly suggest, since there will probably be paid petition gatherers out, and so the likelihood is pretty high that somebody will ask you to sign a petition and place it on the ballot. I'm not going to tell you to sign a petition or not sign a petition, but I would definitely take the time, same thing with the public, I would definitely take the time to research that, the impact that it has had in other places where they do have that, and make your decision whether or not you would like to see that on the ballot in Michigan.
What's it called again?
Ranked, R-A-N-K-E-D, ranked choice voting. And that concludes our report for the evening, unless you have questions for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Alice?
Okay, as far as October, we're glad to see it's gone. We're very busy. We had 36 total calls,
Gee, Christmas.
22 medicals, 5 fires, 4 accidents, 1 CO alarm, and we did have 4 PR events. So, well, hopefully November is a lot less. Halloween went well. The parade, we only had 20 kids, so that was kind of a little disappointing, but the trunk or treating and cider donuts went really well, so it's good. We did receive our 5 new sets of fire gear. Thank you guys for that. We did receive the flashlight and the nozzle as well, so. 955, the engine light came on last week. I'm not sure what's going on with it. It's running fine, everything seems to be fine. I did call Matt to come look at it. He said he was gonna get there, or be here today, but I see he didn't come, didn't show, so I don't know. I'll check base with him again tomorrow and see, what he has planned, so. To me, it seems like it's an exhaust issue, because, I think there's a hole in the exhaust before the, O2 sensor. I think that's what's turning it on, because we got some fumes coming up through the cab, so I think that's what it is. Not 100% sure, but. Last thing I have, I do have 2 new applicants, 2 young kids. I say young, they're probably in their 20s. One's a Rex Shattuck, lives in the community here, and the second one is one of our firefighters' son, which is Casey Loper. They're both interested, neither one of them have any experience, but really excited to get on the department, help out the community.
Have you talked to both of them?
I have.
Okay.
So they have to get their physicals and.
They would have to get their physical background check. Yep,
Do we have gear for them?
we do.
Get them on board.
Okay.
As long as they pass their physical.
Motion, I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
That's it?
That's it.
Something to think about Halloween. We always say that we're gonna set up trunk or treat at 5:30 and then 6 to 7, they're gonna do the trunk or treating. Well, we no more than get half set up and the kids are coming through there collecting. I wonder if we don't wanna consider moving the costume parade up to say 6:30. So that the kids will still be around, just something to think about for this coming year. If it's a nice warm night out, they all stick around. If it's not a nice warm night and it was cold that night, they kinda wandered away home. So we did have quite a few people for Cider and Donuts.
Yep.
Thank you guys for having them. All right. Kelly,
I have a
you got 2 minutes.
have to time that by like 5 or 6. Okay, so the first thing, looking at treasurer's report. So we are over our FDIC coverage at Southern Michigan Bank. So I was looking through our accounts, and I would like to recommend that our sewer replacement fund, taking 75,000 to 80,000 of that and investing that into a CD at County National Bank. So they have, right now, a 12-month would be at 3.36% APY, or a 24-month at 3.16% APY. And I do know rates are going to just kind of keep decreasing. So I don't know if we want to lock it in long-term for 24 months, but my thought with that is, so our Flagstar sewer account, we keep like $240,000 in there. So it's not like if something went bad, we could always pay that fund back from replacement if the money's tied up in a CD. But just something to think about, making more money on that, and also then staying within our coverage by Southern Michigan.
Could we do the year and maybe have an extension to that year if everything was going good?
We
maybe
could, you
pull
just
it?
probably won't get in a year from now your rates.
Maybe, yeah, we're playing a different
But
rate.
that's okay too, I mean, the main thing is so it's covered.
It's, yeah, and it's making us money.
I would say make a motion to move 80,000 to
County National
County National.
Yeah,
for a year.
Yeah.
Second.
I'll second it.
Okay, I'm sorry, so it was Ricky and
move 80,000 to a CD. All in favor? Opposed?
Thank you. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing, Lions Club is interested in January in hosting a trial run bingo on a Saturday night. If it goes well, then it's something they talk about doing more often or possibly once a month. So thought process behind that was maybe not charge them for the first event, but then if they start doing it on a regular basis, then we kind of revisit and talk about the price point. So, everybody okay with that?
I think it's fair.
Just kind of see how it goes and.
Brings people in, yeah, definitely.
Quick question though, on the two shoe ones, do you have any idea what it would cost?
$4,000.
Plus, I don't wanna get into it.
He's like, never mind, change your mind.
I think that depends too on like how well your first event goes. I mean, if you guys are only making, $100, like we're not gonna charge you 50, right? So I think that's something maybe revisit after you host the first one and just kind of see your interest in it, and then.
You know, from my old bingo days of doing it with the fire department, it was pretty lucrative. I mean, it wasn't, you weren't getting rich, but
Right.
there was a profit to
Yeah.
be made. That's why the fire department did it. That's how they made their.
Might take a couple months to gather enough people to start
Yeah.
realizing what's going on too, so.
But the Lions Club does a lot for the village too, so
Mhm.
we're not trying to.
Yeah.
I would say, initially just that, and then we'll see what you wanna do from there.
You don't wanna give a set rate if that's gonna be over what you're making, that wouldn't be
Right.
profitable, so.
Or maybe it is just like a percentage of what you bring in for the night, maybe not a set fee.
Yeah.
Like that's something.
75%.
75.
We're fair.
See that?
Do we have like the stuff to, like, liability and all of that, is that all covered?
We'll come up with something before January.
Just make
Plus,
sure
it gives
that,
us the notoriety too, to say, hey, this building is for rent.
Right.
So that's always a plus for us.
Yep, I agree.
that's what I was making sure, it's just,
Right.
rental, cause I don't think we made up a rental contract or
We
anything that
haven't.
has any of that information, so that you can.
I'll draft something together and send it out. My next order of business, so the playground, so received a quote, so we got the $2,000 grant, received different quotes. The closest I could keep it to $2,000 was $2,697. And that would be for, so like 2 swings and then a bucket swing for like infants. So out of that, so it's $1,917 for the playground equipment itself. That includes the hangers, the seat belt package, and the mounting, like brackets that are needed. And then shipping is $780, which is the cheapest I have found of anywhere.
Where are they shipping it from?
Florida.
Bob's got some free time.
Yeah, we'll just send Bob down to Florida.
Like it.
And that's also too, like most of these companies, like you have to buy the actual like swings separate, like you're just buying the frame and it's usually $2,000, I feel like, so.
Who was the shipping, who was that we checked for shipping?
What do you mean? Like
What,
the
do they
company?
give us options for that, or is that just?
No,
so
it's
that
a,
this is
it's a
incurred?
shipping and freight charges.
Gotcha,
all-
okay.
yeah. And
So
we
grants
are,
We'd have to
Grants
come
for
up with
2,000.
the $600.
yeah, 600, which I think we were looking at, we didn't spend a ton in Parks and Recreation this year. I think we went at Denver.
So we could.
We did have a guy come from St. John's come down and give us 2 catalogs, they're in the office. He's only about $2,000 above this guy's price.
He was
So
quoting
we
us
could
the
pay
whole
for
playground
Bob.
for like $40,000, like, I don't think we're ready for that.
So we could send Bob to Florida and come back and still be under budget.
Swimming, not till the snow's gone.
Well, yeah, springtime, Bob.
Where at in Florida? That makes a difference.
They're gonna meet you at the border.
It's like, I don't get to enjoy it,
very swampy.
And it does come in, it'll be the North Adams green too.
Oh,
is
well,
the-
we're not-
Okay,
I would say-
motion for that?
Do-
If we have the budget, just,
Yeah, make a motion to allow it to take place,
I'll support him.
but not Bob going to Florida.
Oh,
No, not Bob going to Florida.
You're on your own, Bob.
You might save $100 in the end.
save $100.
We need souvenirs though, so.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You're ordered.
I have two more things. And actually Dallas kind of answered my question when you said that you have dependable coming, so in the past, so this last year, the 24,000 from Adams Township got direct deposited into like the general fund, and we have saved that for like vehicle repairs. So we got the bill for the turnout gear, and I was just wanted to ask if we wanted to pay that out of the savings account or out of general. But I would recommend, like, for having vehicle issues, paying it out of the savings, and then saving that remaining money in general for vehicle repairs, and if we have to at the end of the year, transfer any remaining funds back into savings. Does that make sense? Because there is,
There's always gonna be repairs for vehicles and equipment, so.
okay, and I don't need a motion or anything for that, because we've already approved fire turnout gear, but I just wanted to make sure we talked about what it was gonna cost.
Where the money's coming from.
Yes.
I'm fine with that. That's it. Especially Kelly's already, Brad, you talked to her about it, so she's pretty good with it. so.
That's all you got?
I have one more thing. Stop rushing.
The longest 2 minutes of our lives.
Okay, so last thing, so when we hired Bob, we had talked about doing annual performance reviews, because that was something that we have not done in the past. So Personnel Committee met actually last month to talk about Bob's performance. There were no complaints about Bob, everybody has been very, very pleased, with him. You know, part of hiring him was that we talked about doing like performance review bonuses at the end of the year. So Personnel Committee discussed doing a overall bonus, $500, $250 coming out of sewer, $250 coming out of general, to just, you know, commend Bob for what he's done for the village. He has saved us a lot of money. And he's been working out great for the village.
I need those lights for my tractor for the Christmas parade, if we approve this.
Yeah.
No.
So that was what the Personnel Committee proposed.
I know we will.
So we need a motion on that.
Yes.
Motion?
I'll make a motion
I'll
to
second it.
give our street man a $500 bonus for the year.
200 from sewer, 200 or 250.
Wait a minute, before we do this, and when are we gonna pay this, like, right away, or?
January 3rd.
In time
Well,
for Christmas.
I didn't know if you wanted it to hold off till the end of the month, or,
I was gonna do it the next payday.
okay,
I would say that's
that's fine.
That's it, it's fair, yeah. We're expecting Christmas cards.
Don't nobody tell my wife about this.
Oh, it's public, no, it's all noted now, so you're good.
Okay, so you had made the motion for,
Yes.
okay?
I second it.
Thank you.
This time,
She doesn't watch Mark's
Okay.
channel, right?
Yep.
Motion's been made for $500 bonus for Bob for the year. All in favor? Opposed?
I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I will be done.
You're 2 minutes out.
Okay. Has any of the committees got anything they wanna talk about? The sewer committee needs to meet, we have to discuss a couple of things. So it'd be the building and grounds committee. I believe that's, Rich and Wally and myself. And if I can't do it, I think you're on there, Steve. But we can only have 3. But we need to discuss some things so we can come back to council and, by December and get this settled. Board comment on anything? Oh, I forgot, I'm sorry. The mess on Pratt Street had been sold, the owner that bought it told me it'd take him about 6 or 8 weeks to have it cleaned up.
Pretty good.
It got sold,
The
Yeah, so-
foreclosed part, not the,
not the
Yes.
other thing, but
Baby steps, we're getting there.
that's getting there.
Yep.
Who's my dump getting cleaned out?
So, pardon me?
Who's my dump getting cleaned out?
On Wilbur Street.
All right, public comment.
Yes.
Anybody got anything?
Are you sure? My stuff's always fun, so do you wanna complain first?
No, it's like,
Couple things. Ellie and I met a couple weeks ago and we successfully moved the Heritage Day money over to an account that the village has. So, there are several little old ladies around the village that will be very happy to know that not one single individual has control over the Heritage Day money anymore. So, the hopefully new Heritage Day committee will be working with Ellie, whenever bills need to be paid or money's coming in, and that's great. I'm very happy about that. Hopefully the new committee is as well. We had, I believe, 15 vehicles that parked for trunk or treat, which was more than we've had the last 2 years. Everybody seemed to be having a great time. Rick made a very good point that we have been trying to set up by 5:30, so we can close the street by 5:30, so we don't have kids walking in the street while cars are still trying to come in and out. Tom said Mark wasn't expecting to be busy Friday night, and he was packed up until the point where all the rest of us were leaving from Cider and Donuts, which, awesome for Genoffis. Not necessarily awesome for the people that were in Genoffis trying to find somewhere to park, but, worked out great all the same. But, I think that didn't help with kind of how people were parked Friday night, because we had some people parked like in front of the old pizza place, and there was some weird.
and I apologize because I completely dropped the ball on that because I normally put notices for people.
I had a feeling.
Their cars, and when we showed up for trunk or treat, I looked at Brad and was like, oh my gosh, I never put in notices, like,
Nobody
my
complained.
cars are so
Like
parked.
the one working on the truck.
Yeah, so,
Fortunately, most of the people that were parked in front of the buildings either left or they were just neatly parked where they were, and it was fine. Just something we have to do next year, but all that said, because most of us parked between 5 and 5:30 before the street was closed, we actually started turning kids to go, like, walk the streets and get trick-or-treating done before they came back, because they were already showing up at 5:30 to start walking through the vehicles. Most of us weren't ready, at that point, and there were several of us, at least on the general store end of the block, that were out of candy before 6:30. There was a lot of kids, there was a lot of activity, but because of part of that, I think, ran into the parade problem, is that a lot of it tapered off because there just weren't as many people handing out candy in the street anymore because we were out. We didn't have a whole lot left, by 7 from our truck, but, I talked to several people that had just not anticipated, that kind of a turnout that early. So next year, we just need to talk a little bit about, I'm not even sure how right this minute to rectify that problem. So we'll just need to talk about that next year. We did have, Ellie got donations, for prizes, so we were able to give out a first and a second place for the trunk decorations. So we had some really cool trunk decorations this year. And, Lydia Wells' family was very happy to accept first place, very surprised to get first place, so that was awesome. And there's this other guy that got second place, but we don't need to talk about that. We did we have 7 scarecrows?
yes.
6 or 7? 6, 7?
7, John Wally.
That might have been 8, I
I
don't know.
almost did it when Callie was here too.
Working to school.
The little paper one that was on the, I think we had 7. which was great. It got a lot of comments, people were happy to see them up again. Obviously, we would like more participation, but I think it's just gonna have to continue to grow.
Seven last year, I think, so
I think that sounds about right. And then, we had first and second place for that as well. And, so that was great that people seemed excited to get online and vote. They were mad when some people voted for 2 different scarecrows, but they were cool.
Some people voted for every single scarecrow.
Every single.
Some of the businesses were like, you need to go out and vote for my scarecrow. So it was a lot of fun, like, competition between people, which I enjoy seeing because it just gets people more involved in what's going on and doing community things, so that's nice. I think that covers the fall stuff. You covered stuff this month.
I do know this is kind of unrelated, but, for Thanksgiving, there are a couple of residents that are trying to put together Thanksgiving meals for families in the village.
Yes.
That cannot put together a Thanksgiving meal, so I do have it on Facebook that donations can be dropped off to the village office for non-perishables, and then the individuals are working on, the number of families, and then they'll like hold turkeys in their homes. But another thing I was gonna actually say tonight too, like if you wanted to do monetary donations, so that way if, you know, they need to go out and purchase supplies, they can as well, so something to keep in mind.
I think the last count I saw of the families that had anonymously said they needed some help, was in the like 30+ people range. So there are definitely some families in our community that need some assistance. There was one family that said we helped a couple families a few years ago, but now we really need some help. So I'm glad that those community members are trying to put that together. Some of those same community members have been also filling the blessing box, which it's been full. I think there's some winter things in there right now and not just food.
Yeah.
Which I love seeing your blessing box doing all the things. So, if people just keep, a lot of people have asked, where is this thing even at? Like, I have stuff to put in it, so that's
Yeah.
been great to see, more activity and more people understanding.
Yeah, so there was somebody, built it Sunday night and posted a picture, like I thought was in it, when I pulled in Monday morning, everything that they had put in there was already gone, so it's definitely being utilized.
So, and it was full again yesterday?
It's, I seen a picture yesterday,
Yeah.
the day before it was full again, so,
So-
with the clothing in it now.
Yeah, and then, I did see, that the fire department was doing a winter coat. Is that you, Dallas, doing a winter coat drive?
No, that's, Michigan State Police.
Is it? Okay.
Yep, you can drop coats off at any location.
You guys,
Obviously, I didn't look very closely. She was like, somebody's doing it.
Dallas, are you guys doing boot drive again this year?
We are. I don't have the set dates yet, but yeah, we will be doing a boot drive.
So the school has several winter coats in our, like, clothing closet that has stuff. And so, Diane had asked a couple of us yesterday if we were good with, donating those coats. So anybody else that has, winter things that they can donate would be great. I don't know who else had seen that ad, cause I just saw it in the last day or two. But that's, obviously, there's some people in the community that need some things, so. I think
On your
that's it.
trunk or treat, could you park all of them down where the old furniture store and stuff was to save on restaurant?
Potentially, I think part of why we did from the general store to the fire barn was because of doing cider and donuts afterward, plus the parade, and just having that section closed off so that
Traffic.
it was already done. Like, then we didn't have kids walking in the street and there was traffic there. I honestly didn't hear any of the, customers from Genove's complaining. We let, the fire truck that was up at the top of the hill, let a handful of people out, and everybody was pretty good spirited about what was going on. They obviously understood, cause there's kids everywhere. And it was, you know, as long as everybody's watching and paying attention, that part isn't as big a deal.
We could probably, could we
I was
utilize the
just
parking
gonna say,
lot?
we could do that, but then have like the area blocked off, so if the fire department obviously has to get out for a call, like we can have spots reserved for fire personnel to come in and park.
It's not lit up enough.
It's, yeah, it's not very lit up for nighttime either, but
Things to think
it's a good
about.
suggestion, but yeah.
Well, it's been any other night but Friday night, it wouldn't have been much of a problem.
Yeah, that's true. And what, next year would be Saturday probably, or however it falls for the Thursday, something like that for next year, so
Figure it out.
we'll see.
We have a year.
We got a year, exactly. Tom can buy spotlights for the parking lot.
Oh, yeah. That sounds great. Thank you.
Al?
You're gonna check with council this, dinner,
Yes, I will.
okay.
Any other public comments? Board comments? Any motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Thank you.